Yo, what's up, people? Welcome to the Party Podcast, episode number 2.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
We back.
Two.
Your
Yes.
boy D-Lam.
We, yeah. Go ahead. Jay-Tay, Jalen.
Huncho here, man. What's going on?
Hey, Melo in the house. What's the word?
So
What
how we
you
doing?
finna say,
How
Jay?
everybody feeling? I just want to see how everybody
Yeah.
feeling. I'm trying to check in on y'all, man. You know, this is our time to talk.
Man,
What's up?
I'm good.
I'm good,
Gucci.
man. Can't complain.
We good out
Having
here.
a great week.
Yes, cannot complain
Man.
at all.
That's what's up.
Hey,
How you doing, Jay-Tay? How you doing, Jay-Tay?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, how you feeling,
I'm
bro?
doing good. I can't complain. I came focused and ready. You know, it's International Women's Month, so this is going to be a great episode for us to expand our horizon and show, a little versatility in the show. So I'm pretty
Yes,
excited.
sir.
I'm hyped.
You know,
I'm hyped.
we got to show love to the women. You got
Always.
always appreciate the women in our lives. You know what I
to.
mean?
Of course.
You got to show it. Hey,
Oh, yeah. Love you, ma.
hey,
Love,
love
Ma,
you, Ma.
love,
You
Ma.
already know what it is. You know what I mean? All the women in my family. You know what I mean? Like it's real. So we love and appreciate the women, and it's only right during National Women's Month that we put out a. You know what I mean? We take time to appreciate the women.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Yes, sir. Okay, so to start off the show, we are going to talk about the sports announcer at Norman High, a high school in Oklahoma, where an announcer used racial slur to the women's basketball team because they took a knee at the
National
the
anthem.
the
The
national
national
anthem. I'm sorry, national anthem. He called the quote was, "I hope Norman gets their bleep beat effing N-words," and he then claimed that he only used that language because his blood sugar was low. Crazy, right? How y'all feel about that?
Wait, so real quick, what was his? He said his blood sugar was low. He was a diabetic,
He
correct?
was a diabetic. His blood sugar was
I
low.
didn't know that a part of being a diabetic, a side effect was saying racial epithets when your blood spikes.
He said he was disoriented.
I ain't never been
Bro.
disoriented enough to be racist. I mean, either you are or not that.
Then he claimed right after he wasn't racist. If his blood sugar didn't spike, he would never have said that.
You right,
Bro.
Yo, world boss.
There's zero excuse for that, bro. Like, the fact that he said it lets you know that he's already thought this before. So just because,
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, like what? There's no excuse for this. And then later on, he said, specifically, he said, I will state that I suffer type 1 diabetes, and during the game, my sugar was spiking. While not excusing my remarks, it is not unusual when my sugar spikes that I become disoriented and often say things that are not appropriate as well as hurtful. He said, I do not believe that I would have made such horrible statements absent my sugar spiking. Like, bro, there's zero excuse for this. Like,
Listen to
Sounds like privilege to me.
listen to his verbiage.
you already
though.
know what
you
it
didn't-
is.
You gotta peep the verbiage. He said, "I do not believe I would say that if my sugar wouldn't spike."
Like
He didn't say I would never say this. He just said, "Listen, I don't believe I would. Maybe not. I don't believe I would."
So listen. It doesn't matter if he said I would never say that if my sugar didn't spike. For you to say that, you've said it before. And
Yeah.
the way in context, the way he said it in that sentence, it's been said plenty of times. So
bro,
that doesn't give you the excuse for anything. Like I said, it sounds like privilege to me. A lot of people in that position, especially white, they think, okay, I make up an excuse. They won't care. I'll be back on the air. I'll be back announcing soon. It happens, and because it's happened before, we've had examples of white people doing stuff that is crazy. and they should lose their jobs for. But they make an excuse for it, whatever the case may be, and before you know it, they're back in their position. So it's
Yeah.
just another form of privilege or thinking you have that privilege because
Honestly, bro, I don't feel like he should be allowed to announce anymore. To,
well I seen that he's out of a job. Norman High they're changing to a different channel that they're streaming their games through. So they're not going to even use the channel that he was on. So I'm pretty sure like nobody's going to pick him up after this.
Here's my thing. Let me chime in real quick. First of all, shout out to Norman High. Shout out to y'all. Dealing with this on the national stage. And not in
real quick before you go. It was a team decision for them all to kneel
before the anthem.
So even if one of the players on the team didn't agree with it, as a team they all kneeled.
Yeah. So definitely shout out to the Norman High girls and standing together in this moment. But my thing is, especially for African Americans, people like us, there's a certain level of professionalism that we always have to uphold and withstand. You know what I'm saying? Or we get boxed into a specific category or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say he found out he was diabetic yesterday. You knew you had a job to do, so why wouldn't you make sure that your sugar level is okay before you go and do your job? So I'm very happy to the point that they actually upholding it, and he has to learn there's consequences for actions like this. And now that we live in the era of social media, you know what I'm saying? It's just being seen a lot more. You know what I'm saying? This situation has been going on forever. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad that it has to continue. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, I'm proud of the team standing together. I'm proud of the school for backing them. I'm proud of everybody involved to hold this man accountable for sure, because that's not okay. Yeah. Ain't nobody standing for that. What my shirt say? I made sure to wear this shirt today. It's a lot going on in the world, in the Asian community, in the African American community, and in all minority communities. So, we gotta make sure that we stand together and address this stuff, because if we don't, no one will. And I'm glad we live in a generation where millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, we not taking that. We're not taking that. So
you are definitely correct. Facts.
Hey,
facts.
listen.
Hey, wait, hope for all who are not watching this on YouTube, his shirt says "F racism."
You took the words out of my mouth, man. I was just trying to make sure everybody can see it. Hey, because that message it's a real message, right? I mean,
yes, sir.
The crazy thing to me, outside of him attempting to blame it on type 1 diabetes, it was the fact that the unsettling fact rather that it was said supposedly off the air, right? Like they were doing the national anthem, they all kneeled, and you can tell they were still just getting rearranged and getting everything set up.
Quote unquote, he said he didn't know he was on air.
Right. So to me, that shows, right, like as a black man in America, how many of these people have these closet feelings that they won't, like he wouldn't have said this if he was live, right? Bro. Because it didn't matter if he was spiking or whatever. It didn't matter. If he was live, he wouldn't have said it. But it scares me. It scares the thought of thinking about my homies, my pops, all that. My siblings, right? Any of my loved ones. That this is some real thoughts behind closed doors. Yet they are smile in our face until you know what I mean. So it's unfortunate that this is the world that we continue to live in. It's unfortunate that there's people that still believe in these things, these values. But I mean, honestly, it makes me want to continue to push forward, right? It makes me want to continue to be great, right? And it makes me want to. It fuels my fire rather than taking me down. You know what I mean? It continues to make me want to push my envelope and see where I'm at and what I can do and the impact that I can have. You know what I mean? We need more
You got
people. We
to.
need more representation. We need more people that look like us in these positions to start checking these folks before they even get there. But like you said,
Right.
shout out to Gen Z. They they're representing a whole new time. And as some of these old folks get out of these positions, I do genuinely believe that we will continue to start seeing not only these conversations, but more people in positions that are open to change and open to pushing the needle forward and things of that nature. So it's unfortunate, but the good thing is he's off the air and like you said, shout out to Norman High, right? Like no, I wouldn't. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
That's tough to deal with. That's definitely tough to deal with.
Yeah. Just real quick. I mean, I feel like personally, just to expand on this more, it starts at home, bro. Like, I mean, the kids pick up on things quick, and I always have been that way. And I just remember all the things that I picked up on when I was a kid. Kids watch their parents, bro. Like they pay attention to these little behaviors. They pay attention to how this person
The
reacts to this person.
microaggressions. It's
You
the
know
microaggressions.
man, they pay attention to that, bro. So it's really they have to. It has to be some sort of you know some sort of action taken by the parents to where they nip it in the bud and they pass it down to their children that this isn't the way to do it. And when they see
Which
things like this, they have to make it be known that this is not how this isn't acceptable in any shape, form, or fashion.
which is the good thing that this next generation, for the most part, right? Like they're of that mindset, and they're wanting to see change, and they're actually yearning for the change. We have more so, I think more so now than before. We're seeing our counterparts actually starting to partake and our outcries for help and injustice and everything else that comes
Trying
along
to
with
do
being
their part.
right, and everything else that comes along with being a black man or woman or a minority in general in America. So I definitely, a shout out to Gen Z and continue to push the needle forward. You know what I mean? Because without these uncomfortable conversations, we would still be where we were 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. You know what I mean? It really wasn't that long ago.
No lie, no lie.
The party's
But
together with everybody for real, man. We want to see progression. So
yeah, stop Asian hate.
That's it.
Black Lives Matter. It's
All
yeah. We're about progression. You know what I mean? We trying to see everybody get to a playing field that anyone actually has the chance to be successful. You know what I mean? We're no one looking for handouts. No one looking for anything of that nature.
we just want equality.
We just
That's
want a
it.
chance to be successful.
We
That's
just want
it.
equality. We want everybody to be treated the same. That's it.
that's right.
So as we transition, we talked about earlier. We touched on briefly that it's the National Women's Month. The month of March is National Women's Month. So, fellas, let's take it here real quick, man.
All right.
Let's see. I want to hear y'all top 3 women in sports history, in y'all opinion, y'all minds, y'all eyes. Daryl, I'm gonna throw it to you first.
I'm going first?
Yeah, I want to hear Daryl first. Me and Daryl kind of was talking about it off the air, but I want to hear what Daryl got to say.
Okay. We doing top women athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, with my top athletes, I like decor. I like decoration. You gotta have something in your china cabinet. It gotta be something there. So my top 3, I'm gonna go with Serena Williams,
Okay.
Diana Taurasi,
Okay. that's
and then and then Simone Biles.
Okay.
Just winners. They got championships. Simone, medals on top of medals on top of medals. Like if you watch them, like it's just pure greatness. So those definitely have to be my top 3.
Okay. I wanna go next. I wanna chime in because you had 2 of mine.
I got two.
Definitely, we got two. Serena and Simone definitely are in my top three.
Like you
Serena
got
with
it
the
hands
23
hands
Grand
down.
Slams, like you said, big rings. You know, when we talk about the greatest, we talk about rings, we talk about winning. You know what I'm saying? So that has to be considered in the greatest. Now I have some honorable mentions. Now my number three was tough, and listen to me when I pick this third person because I think not. I think athletes' impact go beyond the sport. So
Oh
this is why
yeah.
I
Oh
chose
yeah.
this person, and it's what this person is actively doing right now. And I chose Candace Parker only because
Okay. I
Candace
like that.
Parker won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the same season. She's a hooper. She balling with my Chicago Sky now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the
Of
Bears.
course. Of
And I love
course.
what she's doing on TNT with Shaq and D Wade. Shout out to the TNT
She
fam
just
out
schooled
there,
Shaq
man.
not too long ago.
Yeah, she's doing an excellent job holding her own. And what I love so much about her is she calls the sport really well. I know we talk about our least favorite commentators all the time. We'll say that for another conversation. But I really like when Candace Parker calls games. I mean, it's really nice. Some honorable mentions: Gabby Douglas, Lisa Leslie, and
Oh yeah.
Danica Patrick. I was definitely gonna say Danica Patrick as well. So those were some honorable mentions that I had.
Hmm.
But definitely Serena, definitely Simone. And shout out to Miss Candace Parker. I'm throwing you in as my top three.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Where we
So
going next, Melo?
I can go. I'll tell
Okay.
you. Let me
What you
go
got,
ahead
Melo?
and tell y'all something. Let me get y'all right. So actually,
Huh?
honorable mention, Lisa Leslie.
Lisa Leslie for
Lisa
sure.
Okay.
Leslie. Shout out
Okay.
Lisa
Okay.
Leslie. You know, for me, I'm going off of what I've seen and I've witnessed. You know what I
Of
mean? So
course.
shout out Lisa
Okay.
Leslie. I feel bad leaving her off, but I did want to give her a shout out. But
Sure.
my top three, we going in no order at all. But Serena Williams, right? I don't need to say anything, right?
Yeah. Of course
That's a
not.
given.
Of course not.
Serena is the GOAT. You know. Next, I'm gonna go Diana Taurasi. You know, when you look at what Diana Taurasi has done,
Man.
listen. She's the GOAT to me when it comes to the WNBA. Like, I've witnessed what Diana Taurasi has done since UConn, and it's unfathomable to me.
Scoring
Mamba
titles,
I mean,
mentality,
assist
Mello.
titles.
Mamba
the
mentality. Talk
Mamba
about it.
mentality.
Mamba
Of
Like
course,
I
mentality.
of
Talk
said,
course.
about it.
the
That's
Mamba
it.
mentality.
Automatic.
So, but I would not leave this individual off the list.
For some reason, I knew he was gonna pick this too. But go ahead.
And it's not only because of her on court accolades and everything, but it's everything that she's done off the court as well. Shout
Yes.
out, first of all, shout out the homie Diavante. Diavante and myself, we go back and forth about who's the GOAT in basketball on WNBA with
Shout
her
out
and Diana
Devontae, man.
Taurasi. Shout out Diavante. But check it. I gotta go Maya Moore, right?
I
Maya
like that.
Moore
I
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's a
that.
good one. That's a
in
good
her
one.
Maya Moore's
short
a good one.
career, not only does she have 4 WNBA titles, she has a Finals MVP, she has an MVP. I mean, she's first team all WNBA 5 times, scoring leader, Rookie of the Year. I mean, like the list goes on the court. It fails to compare what she's done off the court, right? Her fight for social injustice, her fight to continue to push the needle forward, her fight to want better and want to advocate, right, for those that have not necessarily been advocated for in the past. So
Big
I
opinion.
definitely, yeah, dude. I mean, what she's doing to step away from her career to focus her time and energy on this full time, hats off to Maya Moore. At this point, I mean, like I said, Maya Moore she was on a trajectory to be the GOAT.
She was. She
She
definitely
was
was.
on in her short career from 2011 to 2018. She won
Yo.
4 finals. Like this is
That's
we're not 4 of them. So as much as Diavante and I, we enjoy our back and forth when it comes to our conversation regarding Maya and Diana Taurasi. I have to include her because of not only the accolades that she has on the court, but for her even more so stepping up off the court in ways that some athletes, even men, right, haven't done. So
Exactly.
Van, let me go ahead and throw it to you.
All right, so I'm a
I
yeah,
like
good
everybody's
list.
list right now.
All of y'all good list. All of y'all good list. So first, I'm gonna start off with we gonna go Lisa Leslie first. You know,
Okay.
LA for the LA Sparks. Played from '97 to '09. Two-time conference or two-time final champion. Three-time league MVP, 8-time All-Star, 2 times final MVP. The list goes on. You know, did a lot for that franchise. Next, I'm gonna go.
Huncho, before you go,
Yo, what you got?
it's also a sister. Shout out to you and Tamara.
He was.
With Lisa Leslie, sister. So shout out Lisa
Yeah.
Leslie. I just had to add that. Bro.
I feel you already know it. Next, I'm gonna go with one that might surprise y'all. I know Melo, you wanted to keep it in like in the people that you witnessed actually, but I couldn't really pass this one up. So I'm gonna go Jackie Joyner Kersey.
I was
Okay.
look. She was my honorable mention. I ain't get to say it, but
Bro.
she was on there.
6-time Olympic medalist. Named the greatest female athlete of the 20th century.
Man,
And on top of that, she has like 7,200 points in the heptathon, or I don't know how to say it, but it's a lot, and she still holds the record for that. So shout out to her. And third, I'm gonna go Serena Williams.
of course.
Is
Yeah.
the unanimous
it's
pick out of
hands
all
down.
of us. You know, with all her accolades, I think her career record is like 850 to like 100, bro. So like, she
Man.
does not lose, bro. But honorable,
Serena played pregnant too.
it-
Serena
bruh.
played pregnant too. So
honorable mention,
She didn't
honorable
play.
mention.
She won pregnant, didn't she?
Yeah,
pregnant,
yeah. But honorable mention. I gotta go. Just simply because Serena's in there, and I feel like she doesn't get shown as much
Venus.
respect. I'm gonna go Venus. Venus
Shut up.
she has just about the same record as Serena throughout her career. Together, they both have like 14 Grand Slam double titles as well, which is like the second most in history. So, shout out to them, man.
Can you imagine that being like your
that's
Venus
crazy,
or
bro.
Serena? Like, bro, y'all are the greatest combo ever.
Imagine having to
And they-
play them in doubles.
It's
Bro.
raps,
And they've been doing that since they was kids.
right?
Yeah.
Nah. So, like I said, I definitely think. I mean, when we think of women's impact in sports and just where we're continuing to go, and especially as we move into this new, like you said, once again, we referring back to Gen Z. It's such a good thought and good feeling to know that not only that women's rights and women's sports and just the equality conversation is really being pushed. You know what I mean? For the women, and I love it. Right? Like that's something that I hate that it took this long for it to be essentially a problem to the point where we really need to push the needle on it. But patience is a virtue, and now we got to continue to have these conversations, right? Like these conversations need to continue in order for women's sports, women's athletics, everything to get to the point where we need them to get to.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm laughing because Remy in the back,
Remy.
just telling us to make sure that we shout out Clarissa Shields.
Oh, yeah.
He said we better shout out Clarissa Shields. I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but
Wait,
she said she's from Michigan. We got to shout her out the record. She's an excellent boxer. So I mean, I forgot we didn't talk about Layla Ali. We could talk about Layla. And we could talk about
It's so many different directions we could have
yeah,
went
so
to.
many different lanes that we
It's
could
so
have
many,
went to.
yeah.
So
It was only
definitely
three.
shout out
You
to
can only pick
Shields.
three.
wait. Remy called her
Shout out
the
Remy.
quote. Wait, he called her the quote. The greatest
Quote.
woman.
No, that's from Medical.
Hey, all right. Shout out Remy, man.
She's a top female boxer.
Hey, y'all already know. Y'all gonna hear this from me multiple times every single episode. Shout out Remy, man.
Man, shout out Remy. Shout out Remy.
Shout out Remy.
Man, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what month it is. Oh, Before we close it out, yeah, like Melo said, we definitely appreciate women. We're gonna dive deeper into that later on. So shout out to y'all. Let's transition into that time of the year, March Madness, them brackets. We're gonna talk about them brackets. So I have mine filled out for the most part.
Mine's filled out.
I'm still trying to figure out who I feel like is gonna win the whole thing.
How far you got, man? Where were we at?
I got Ohio State in the Final Four. That's what I do have.
Hey, shout out D Wash.
Shout out D Wash. That's a crib,
Shout out D Wash.
Hey.
He from the crib.
You know,
Shout
crazy
out
too.
D-Wash.
Yo, who's going to the Final Four?
Ohio State.
Facts.
Mm.
Oh, Jalen, let's
They
talk
in
about
it.
it. Nah, let's talk
Come on,
about
what you
it.
got,
You ain't gonna be. You can't do that and not talk about it.
Y'all gonna probably say I'm playing with my heart. But this
We
team
got
has never
Loyola making
won.
it to the championship.
This team has never won a national championship ever. And I think during this COVID year, they have an opportunity to, and I think this is their one shot to do it. And I'm gonna put it up to the screen. Who winning that? Who I got winning that?
Illinois. He got Illinois.
I got Illinois winning.
Okay.
I got Illinois winning.
Okay.
I got Illinois winning, man. And like I can't say his name. I'm not gonna butcher your name. Ayo Dosunu. I butchered it, but Ayo, that's his name. Ayo, that's his name.
Ayo.
I think Gonzaga is definitely going to get to that final spot as well. They've had a really good season. But other than that, I have a whole bunch of upsets. I actually have Gonzaga, BYU, Baylor, and the Illini in my Final Four. So Ohio State was a tough out, but I think Arkansas is going to beat them. I just think Arkansas is going to beat them in the Sweet 16 for the simple fact that Arkansas really has a good defense. And I think, in those clutch moments, that's going to matter. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Real quick. Who's surprised Jalen chose Illinois as a championship
Come on now.
team?
we all knew that was happening.
Jay, you gonna be mad
I
at
want to go Gonzaga.
But look though,
I'm
Jay.
going Gonzaga.
But look though,
I am
Jay.
going Gonzaga.
Let me go real quick because look, you picked with your heart, and I did as well.
No, please don't tell me.
My Final Four.
Please don't tell me.
My Final Four is SC, Alabama, Ohio State, and Illinois, and I got Ohio State and USC in the final game, with USC winning 65-60. As much as I love, what Ohio State is doing this year, I'm going with them Trojans. Fight on USC.
USC can't win everything, bro.
Bro, they
Wow. Hey, bro.
They can't win everything, bro.
I can't have my bracket.
Bro, let him have his bracket, bro. You let him have. Sometimes dreams come true, bro.
Right. When I was picking Duke to win all them years, them boys was winning. I didn't put Duke. Obviously, they ain't even in the bracket, but we had to find somebody.
Look, my Final Four, I got Gonzaga, I got Michigan, I got Baylor, and I got Illinois. And I got Gonzaga winning it all. I'm just saying, they the most complete team to me. You feel me? It's just like, I got some upsets in here too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's all in the first round.
Yeah, I want to see them upsets.
Tell me some of y'all upsets.
USC winning the title, is that not an upset every round?
That's definitely an upset.
I got the biggest upset. I got a 6 seed.
Look. I'm gonna tell y'all what team to watch out for, and I really want y'all to watch them play. I really want y'all to watch Grand Canyon play. Watch Grand Canyon play.
I heard Grand Canyon was nice.
Hey, Grand Canyon, I got them going to the round of 32 to play Oregon. So they're going to beat Iowa. Iowa's number 2, and I think Grand Canyon is going to beat them. Grand Canyon is a nice team, so that's one of my sleeper teams to watch out for sure. So I got them with an upset. Who else I got with an upset? Liberty. I got Liberty with an upset. So I got a couple.
Be on the watch out. For Oregon State at the 12 versus Tennessee at the 5. Oregon State is 9-1 against the spread this year. So even though they may not win, they gonna make it a tough out. They gonna be a tough out for whoever they play. So I actually did take them against Tennessee. I got them losing the next round to Oklahoma State, but just be mindful. Even though you got Liberty beating Oklahoma State, Jay, but like I said, Oregon State this year is 9-1 in the last 10 games, rather, versus the spread. So that's a team just to be on the lookout for. Don't be surprised if you see them at least get out the first round.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What you got, Lamp?
What else is on here? I got Michigan making it to the Elite Eight. I actually got a little wager going with a coworker of mine that USC would make it further than Michigan. So, of course, I couldn't have Michigan making it all the way there. So, Michigan, I think.
Break your heart.
I think Michigan got a real chance, though. I won't lie. If I didn't have that bet going, Michigan would probably make it pretty far. If Livers wasn't out, I probably realistically could see them making a run at that final spot if they could get through Gonzaga. But
I got USC going to the Sweet 16. If that
dang, wow, all right.
If that helps you,
It don't. That's 2 games. We can't win 3. We can't win 3, bro.
Hey, y'all might be able to.
You don't think so?
I got y'all going.
You've been right a lot lately. Shout out my boy Lamp. Lamp been right a lot. He wasn't right about that Giannis was more skilled than Pascal Siakam. Because y'all clearly didn't see what Giannis did the other night, but we can get into that another topic. But
This man FaceTimed me, bro, and had a whole breakdown session of what this man Giannis was doing, bro.
He scored, right? It was tied. Overtime went 8 straight to put them boys away. I ain't ever seen Pascal do that, but we on NCAA still, so I was just trying to give my boy Lamp a shout out for being right a lot lately. So
I definitely.
Let me get So one upset I got is I feel like Winthrop is gonna beat Villanova in that first round.
Yeah, I got them winning too.
Yeah, Winthrop has lost 1 game this whole season.
Big cap. They ain't seen Villanova yet.
Nova gonna be a tough out. I mean,
hey, look though. So at my job, they let us do a draw, like a random like pull from a bucket, and like that's the team that you go with, and like if that team wins, you get the prize. Man, why I draw Norfolk State? I almost threw it back. Oh, bro, I'm good.
Hey, you might as well throw that in the trash.
Bro, Illinois was still available, and I get Norfolk State.
Oh man.
No, I'm playing.
No, I did throw it in the trash, bro. It's for what? They ain't even in the tournament. They in the play-in.
They
gotta play into the tournament.
Oh, okay.
So that game was tonight, right? The play-ins was tonight.
It should be. It was, I believe it was Thursday.
I believe the play-ins were today.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Like we did episode 1, we got a special segment for y'all, so I think this is a perfect time for it.
Yes, sir.
And, me and my guys, we enjoy Twitter. We love Twitter. Twitter is the best social media. When Twitter goes away, I'm out of here. But this next little segment that we gonna have for y'all is a real fun one. We each kind of picked a tweet, and we want you all to interact with us as well. You know, if you all see any crazy Instagram posts or any crazy tweets, send them to us on our DM for sure, because this game is called What the Tweet. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull some tweets off, and we're going to show them on the screen. We'll read it to our listeners, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see. And then we're just going to kind of debate them. So, Remy, kick us in with that first tweet. This is going to be fun.
We got here. What we got going on?
We got to get a theme song for
Add flyer population.
Yeah. We definitely got to get a theme song.
We got to get a theme song for What the Tweet, bro.
Okay. Who's
Is this
Melo?
Yeah, this is something I seen.
Okay.
Real quick, last minute. So look,
I just saw. Yeah.
I'm looking through Twitter and I'm like, what's something that might get the fellas going? And I'm like, okay, I see this. I'm like, the most hated NBA players. Oh, this should be a good one. So first, the first on the list.
Who is that?
Is Paul George.
Who?
I feel so bad.
What's his name?
Paul George.
Really?
Some people may know him as George Paul.
Oh.
but it's really Paul George.
Gosh,
Just in case you were mixed up. Second on the list,
that's tough.
that man Stephen Wardell Curry. Third on the list, you got Kevin Durant, KD 7. Fourth on the list, you have Russell Westbrook. Fifth on the list, you have James Harden. And sixth, you have Kyrie Irving. Fellas, how do y'all feel about this list? What's up? What's up? Talk to me.
I
Most hated.
quick story. Quick story before we go into this. Melo is the person who opened my eyes to Steph's greatness. I was one of the, like I said, I'm a big basketball fan. I'm a huge basketball fan. But Melo put it into perspective on why Steph Curry is so great, and I just haven't seen him the same since we had this. So
I appreciate that, bro.
I think the hate for Steph has gone down, so I would bring Steph down for sure. I think Kyrie needs to be higher on the list.
Yeah, Kyrie.
I think Kyrie is too low at 6. I think KD and Russ are a toss-up, but as y'all discussed, I'm gonna think of some other players that might be more hated. But I think Steph and Kyrie should switch places if we're doing that, because people love to hate on Steph Curry. Like I said, I wasn't a hater of Steph Curry, but I wasn't.
You wasn't aware of his greatness.
Yeah, exactly. I need to be educated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I feel you. That's good.
I think KD's hate even went down a little bit too. You know, especially with him being injured, it's been real quiet.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So let me think. I'm gonna counter this. Melo, what you think?
So I actually don't disagree with the list too much. It's almost like if I could just scratch Paul George off the list completely, I would be fine with it. I do think that Steph Curry is still, like, even though we see what he's doing right now, and I just seen a crazy stat right recently that when Steph Curry is on the court, they're, I think, a top 10 offense, and as soon as he steps off the court, they're the worst offense in the league, right? So he's, to me, and the fact that we're still even having to have a conversation on why he's why he's a top 3 player in the league, right? To me is ridiculous. So I don't know if he's number 1. But I'm cool with him being rated pretty high. Kevin Durant, like you said, out of sight, out of mind. Russell is always going to be a hated player because of his play style. James, I think he was more hated for self-inflicted things by forcing his way out of Houston. And Kyrie, once again, self-inflicted. Do I want to, maybe if I could put them up, even though they're self-inflicted, I could do that. I could see that. But Paul George Paul, playoff P, way off P, pandemic P, PG 13%.
Bro, this man has a whole
what?
A whole list.
Wait. What was that? What was that last one, real quick?
PG 13%, bro.
Bro, what?
This is crazy. This is
Bro,
crazy.
I don't listen. I don't. Paul George isn't hated. That's the difference, right? Yeah. All these other players are genuinely hated on for whatever reason, right? Steph and KD trigger LeBron fans, right? Russell triggers KD fans, right? Harden triggers Houston fans, and Kyrie triggers anybody. So George Paul, though,
Kyrie triggers the media.
Right, that's what I say. Anybody. So George Paul, though, is different.
Who does George Paul trigger, bro?
George Paul, people don't hate on George Paul. People clown George Paul, right? Wow. And they clown him not because he doesn't even deserve to be on a list with these guys.
Wow.
Right? Like, no, all these dudes show up in the playoffs. Even Harden, to an extent, shows up in the playoffs. Paul George's issue is he don't show up. So it's not hate. It's just we responding to him, I don't know, shooting the ball off the side of the backboard, right? It's like, what are we supposed to do with this? Joe Ingles took him to the Clamp Island. What are we supposed to do with that?
Wow.
So I would take George Paul off the list, and I would still put LeBron on this list before George Paul, right? Even a person like myself, I respect LeBron, but I know I'm understanding to the fact that there is still a lot of LeBron hate. And I would put him on this. Look, George Paul isn't hated on. He's clowned because he doesn't show up in games that matter. And if you don't believe me, Ask Daryl when he was rooting for OKC and against Utah, and he disappeared in all the games that mattered.
That's tough.
But yo,
That's
all right,
tough.
man, that was tough.
This ain't tough. Paul George ain't the most hated player in the league.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go? How you feel?
Let me get mine out the way real quick.
Go
So,
ahead.
yeah, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. That's how I'm gonna keep this. So I'll probably put James Harden and Kyrie. I'll move them up. Definitely, I would probably have them as either. I'll probably put Kyrie at 3, James Harden at 4. Maybe move Westbrook up to. I feel like Westbrook is still pretty hated. I'll probably put him up to either 3 or 2. Steph, I feel like Steph doesn't really. I still feel like Melo said, Steph does still receive the same. It's like people don't really appreciate him as much or as they should, but I don't really feel like people still hate on him as much as they used to. Just because I was one of those that was brought over to the dark side of Curry land as well. So, but yeah, like Melo said, Paul George definitely does do it to himself, bro. Like, I don't really. Melo already explained it. I ain't gonna too much go into that, bro.
Yeah, bro. Leave Paul George alone, man. Dang, y'all be trying to kill this.
At least I respected the man. At least I respected the man and called him by his actual name, bro. It's like,
man,
What
that's
more do you
crazy.
want from me?
We done had a
What
whole.
more do you want from me?
oh no.
Man,
Yeah,
what
what you got,
Lamb? Why
Lamb?
this man is so bad? So look,
Yeah, man, what's your take, bro?
so if anything, I feel like if you want to take anybody off this list, it should probably be the Beard. People don't really hate the Beard. They were looking for a reason to hate him, and
I agree.
him
Yeah.
quitting on the Rockets was that reason. They really don't hate him. You see what he's doing in Brooklyn. People don't hate him no more. You know, all the fat jokes and all that stuff, you don't hear that no more because he's balling now. So like
Right.
people wasn't really hating on him. So if you want to take
think
anybody
it
off
was
the list,
just a
you take
situation.
James Harden off the list. You put LeBron James in the list because to be honest, there are some people on here that are hated for a good reason. But if you are doing your thing, you're an all-star, you're one of the greatest in the game, you're going to get hate just because you're one of the greatest. Steph's the greatest shooter, so people are going to hate on him. LeBron James is the greatest in the game right now, and the best player in the game right now. So he's going to get hate.
Kevin Durant's the best player.
I mean, look, he's the greatest player in the game right now. I'm sorry, he's the greatest player in the game right now. KD is the best player in the game, but LeBron James is the greatest player in the game right now. So he's going to receive hate. I would definitely take James Harden off, and I don't know where I would put LeBron James, but he's definitely on this list. Paul George is definitely hated on.
Can we at least say that Paul George is hated on for a good reason?
He is one of the players that is hated on for a good reason.
This man
I'm not
Melo
gonna
is
lie
not
to you.
having it.
Bro,
He's not having it, bro.
but y'all know, and real quick, Lam, not to cut you off,
No,
but
go ahead.
y'all know, right, like, in the party on 2K, I make a Paul George type of player.
Yeah.
It's not because I hate Paul George. It's because, and really it stems from Carmelo, right? When Carmelo was at the prime of his career and people started saying Paul George is better than him. I was like, how? I was like, how are we just going to, because of, like, where are we getting this from? So the more I started watching Paul George, I've been, and Daryl is my witness on it, I've been saying that Paul George, soon as he dapped up LeBron and half court in the Eastern Conference Finals, it was over for me. I was like, oh yeah, this dude isn't, like, he's not that guy, right? So, and ever since then, the playoffs have shown me to be right.
No.
I don't want. I love Paul George's skill set. Paul George as a player, I think he was the best second option in the game when he was with Russell. They almost won an MVP. I love Paul George's game. I just don't think Paul George, he doesn't have that for a guy of his stature should have. And that's my issue.
No,
And like I say, and he disappears a lot then because of that in the biggest moments.
I get you.
Well, yeah. Lent, you got anything to cap this off?
I feel like the list is pretty good. It's a good list. I would just take off James Harden, add LeBron because he's definitely one of the more hated players in the game. Even though he also has a lot of blind witnesses, but
Shout out to blind witnesses.
but I think pretty good tweet. I liked everybody's take on it. Let's get the next one going up.
What we got next?
Let's see what's next.
Oh, this is my tweet. Shout out to Huncho. That's our football guy, Huncho.
Yes,
Huncho,
sir.
This is my tweet, but I want Huncho to introduce it. This is why I picked this tweet. I want my boy to introduce it.
Okay.
Let's talk about
So the tweet says, in the last 2 days, Cam Newton got tight end Jonnu Smith, tight end Hunter Henry, wide receiver Nelson Aguilar,
Shout out Nelson.
and wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. And it says under that, it says Superman's got weapons.
Now, before we dive into this, let's talk about, since he got these weapons, let's talk about division placement. Just off the first look, because we're not done with free agency, we ain't done with the draft. But just off that, let's talk about division placement. And are we going to see Superman back this season? I don't know. I'm a Melo. Are we going to see Superman back this season? Come on, break this to me down.
No.
Oh,
I mean, they're good guys. Kendrick Bourne wasn't a number one option where he was at. Nelson Aguilar, shout out Nelson Aguilar from USC. He wasn't right. Like obviously, he wasn't enough for Oakland.
Nelson Aguilar is a role player. He's a role player.
Like a lot of these guys, and I didn't mean Oakland. I meant Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of these guys are role player type of players, right? Like none of these dudes are. Like if you were to give these guys to like Tom Brady, it'd be one thing. Because seriously, and I say that because you have big name weapons already. So then you plug in a Kendrick Bourne, you plug in a Nelson Aguilar, right? This is Cam's top two options. Cam already struggle as it is throwing the ball, so it's better than what he had.
yeah,
but
definitely.
is it enough to come out and do something serious? Right now, y'all tell me. Are the Patriots better than the Dolphins? Yes or no?
You said better than who?
The Dolphins.
No.
Are they better than the Bills?
No.
So currently, the only team they're better than is the Jets. So in their division, right? And so we know they're not going to win their division. So at best, they can finish. I think they could possibly find a way to at best get ahead of the Dolphins, but I don't see that happening. I see them finishing third. I see them not doing much better than 8-8, and it's not. It won't be because of the lack of Bill Belichick doing what he can do, because Bill Belichick got them to 7-9, I believe this year with nothing. But adding these guys in, I think they're just in a division now that historically has been a laughing stock, whereas the Bills and Miami are trending in the right direction. And I just don't see them being able to make a playoff run or even make the playoffs with those additions. They're nice additions if you have already a big name receiver, right? But
I feel you on that.
But Nelson Aguilar is known notoriously for dropping passes. I like Kendrick Bourne as a slot receiver, but I think you need a lot bigger to make Cam Newton at this current juncture, in his career, to be what you need Cam Newton to be.
If it was Carolina,
I agree with him. Wait, go ahead.
No, I was just saying if it was Carolina Cam in his prime.
Oh, that's a different story.
He could do anything.
But
with anybody.
we it's injury riddle Cam.
Yeah, this ain't the same Cam that we're accustomed to seeing. I mean, Cam Newton.
I think.
I just want to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
just
man.
wanted to say I agree with Melo. They're definitely better than they were this past year with these additions. I just think, like you said, it'll help with his consistency. Like he has some people to throw it to now.
I will say, according to Pro Football Focus, that receiving core, that same receiving core with Tom Brady was rated last as far as separation. So they're not getting open. And real quick, a note on Cam. In 2020, Cam went for 8 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. 8 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I'm sorry. I don't see Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne boosting him to anything more than maybe 15 and 10.
Nelson Aguilar got 8 touchdowns alone last year.
Yeah, but he also was playing next to the fastest dude in the draft.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me say this: like, we all root for Cam.
Correct.
First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? We all want to see Cam. Last year, that entire Patriots team was dealing with COVID issues. They weren't really a complete team. They did lose a lot of close games. They lost a lot of close games. And Cam is at his best when he has good tight ends. So, like you said, I definitely think it's an upgrade. But like I said, man, like Melo said, that's a tough division now. You got Miami trending in the right direction. You know, we don't know. You know, even if they don't get Deshaun, they still got Tua. And Tua did an excellent job, you know, stepping in to his role. So I think he's going to be excellent. Like you said, the Bills got a lot tougher. They were just in the conference championship game, so I really don't see them falling off. Shout out my boy Big Arm Allen. And yeah, like I said, it's just a really dicey situation, but we gonna see. The Patriots are really retooling through free agency right now, so let's see what it finishes up. That's gonna be a tougher division than what we think, and if they can pull a couple of close wins, like you said, I'm looking 8-8, maybe 9-7.
That's
maybe.
where I'm feeling.
So,
We're
Yeah,
right.
they got a couple more games than this year past.
Yeah,
They didn't get a couple.
I'll give him 9-7.
We give him 9 and 7 too.
Like everybody said, I mean, these aren't. They need to change this tweet to Superman's got handguns or something. Like these ain't no
Superman ain't got weapons, bro. He got handguns.
This man got
He got arrows, bro. Shout out Remy, man.
Bro, like,
Remy said he got a couple arrows in the back pocket.
Yeah, bro. But like Jay said, I mean, to Cam's credit, he is best when he has good tight ends. Jonnu Smith had like 8 touchdowns also last year. So, I mean, maybe they'll pick somebody up in free agency. Maybe they'll continue to build on their team. But I do definitely think they got to upgrade from where they were last year. And I can see them going 9-7. I can see that.
It's crazy to think we're a far cry from when Cam went 35-10 as far as touchdowns to interceptions in 2015.
It was not that long ago.
At all.
Not that long ago. Remy, you could kill in the next tweet, bro. But yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Shout out Cam Newton. Like you said, we all want him to do.
We rooting.
Yeah,
Man,
we
shout out
for
Cam. Okay, so this is my this is me right here. And I picked this because I kind of wanted to focus on college sports real quick and give March Madness some light real quick. So the tweet says March Madness shows how overrated these big time recruits are. Go to a school that values you. How do y'all feel about that tweet right there?
Go ahead, Lamp. Pop us off.
I don't know about this tweet because regardless of March Madness, the big time recruits are leaving regardless. So I mean, you go to a school that values you, are you really getting that same?
Wait, read the tweet.
March Madness shows how overrated these big time recruits are. Go to a school that values you. So if I already got skills and I go to Kentucky, teams are already looking at me regardless because I'm at Kentucky. Kentucky didn't recruit me for no reason. So just because I'm at a big time school, it makes me a big time recruit. I mean, especially if you can back it up. So like, if you're at Kentucky and you're actually putting up numbers, you're getting looks. So, say I go to a D2 school, but they really value me. They really want me. Am I getting that same? Am I going to get that same opportunity to go to the league? Which is my question. I feel like big time schools, they're going to recruit the big time players because they can. They have that first picking. So
Remy just
I'm already looked at as a big time recruit because I balled in high school and I'm with Kentucky. So I can be a one and done. And I feel like most college kids want to be one and done because they want to go get their bag.
get to the league. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So go.
I was gonna say let me chime in.
Go ahead.
I was gonna talk exactly about what Remy just talked to us about.
Okay.
So I think March Madness is actually pretty good. So I think it's actually in reference to the fact that this is like the first year that Kentucky and Duke isn't like in the tourney. You know what I'm saying? But I think big time recruiting matters more so in college basketball than it does in college football. Only because the simple fact in college football is so many more players, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, especially this season, maybe it just may be this season, but I feel like college football is a lot more promoted than college basketball. I feel like even with us, like we always talk about how NCAA football was one of the greatest football games ever. So our generation really got attached to college football. So I feel like with basketball, when you go to those big time schools, that's usually how NBA scouts look for people. Like they literally let the college recruiters do it, you know what I'm saying? But in football, I feel like in football they honor like good stories, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they honor the best defensive players. They honor the best receivers, you know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily the case in basketball because of your program. Because there are players that go to other schools that are a lot better, you know what I'm saying? And they don't, they aren't drafted number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those are the drafts that you gold mine.
Right, exactly. So I feel like big time recruiting is really good for college basketball. But in football, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know Melo and Huncho are really big on college football too. I just feel like when I'm watching college football, it's easier for me to see who the best defensive end is. It's easy for me to see who the best safety is, no matter what school they go to.
Wait,
because they get that notoriety.
What? So you feel like basketball players? So are you saying like the star college football players get more notoriety than star basketball players?
I'm just saying from a standpoint of position wise. Like my thing is, if you go to Duke, if you go to Kentucky and you ball, you're going to be heavily recruited. But there might be somebody in Wichita State who balls just as hard as, or even better than the students that go to Duke or Kentucky, but they're not going to get that same notoriety. But in college football, if you go to if you go to a Boise or something, if you cut in your position, I feel like the football analysts, Mel Kiper, and they give them their praise. But when you get recruited in college basketball, I feel like it matters more so the names that you go to.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's one thing.
I like that because I'm more so brought up on the side of basketball, but I like how you separated that.
You want to go, Melo?
So the big thing to me is this, right? In college football, you're able to build a brand to be able to appreciate those big name players because you have to stay for 3 years, right? And that's my issue with college basketball is with college. And first, let me go into the recruiting, and then I'll go into my personal feelings, right? So in college basketball, it's like you got to do one or two things, right? You got to take a chance at really getting to the league, which means you got to take a chance on going to a a Duke, a North Carolina, Kentucky, one of those teams that will take a one and done player, or you take a chance on a team that you can win a national title. And generally speaking, the teams that are winning national titles over the last couple of years, so I'm going to read them off. You got Virginia, you got Villanova, North Carolina, Villanova, Duke, UConn, Louisville, Kentucky, UConn, and Duke. You have some of those one and done teams sprinkled in there, but generally, like Villanova, one and dones don't go to Villanova. One and dones don't go to Virginia Tech. One and dones don't go to UConn and Louisville and those type of programs. So when you start looking at it, it's like those programs, yeah, you can win a championship or you can go to the league. And a lot of those players that really want to get to the league they are willing to forego winning a national title to get to their ultimate goal. Whereas in college football, the approach that college football has is you're going to be here 3 years. So you want to, it don't matter if you, like, it does matter rather, because you can pick, you want to pick, if you want to win a title, you can legitimately, you have 3 tries to do that. So that's why the Alabamas, that's why the Clemsons, that's why the USCs before, the Ohio States, that's why the talent can flock to those teams, yet they can still win because you have those guys for 3 years still. Whereas in college basketball is such a chemistry oriented thing that you can have the most talent, but the most talent won't always win a game.
Exactly, because bouncing off you, if you go to one of those teams like a Louisville or Villanova, you've been there for about 3 years. So you guys are building that chemistry. Yeah. As to where you go to Duke or Kentucky and you're one and done, they have to keep recruiting. And if they can't recruit that talent, those players haven't played together.
And it would be no different. It would be no different if college football went to a one and done, right? Because football, Van knows, because Van played collegiate football. Van knows, and it takes time to build chemistry on and off the football field. I've been so, and I'll use myself as an example. I was playing with, my high school, senior crew, my senior core. We were together since middle school. So by the time we got to varsity, we couldn't help but win, right? Because we had so much chemistry built amongst each other. To this day, they know where I'm going to be out on the court before I even know where I'm going to be out on the court. And it's vice versa, because we've been playing with each other no matter how long and how separated we've become in life. We know each other's tendencies. You don't get a chance to really build tendencies over 29 games or 30 games or however long the college season is.
That's years.
Right? Like, that takes real legitimate time. So when you start looking at how a Villanova, how a Virginia, how some of these teams, a Louisville can compete, it's not because of talent. It's because they have that chemistry, that camaraderie. It's a legitimate team that can win these titles. You know what I mean? So that's the difference when it comes to college basketball. And I think it's hurting the sport overall because college football is still flourishing, right? Because you're able to make stories out of these big name guys. You can't do that in college. Unless they come in with these names like a Zion, for example, right? Zion was a perfect one and done because he had high school hype. He's been hyped since he was a sophomore in high school. So we knew who Zion was before he got to Duke.
You could follow him.
Right. The casual college fan doesn't know who most of these 5-star recruits are even until they get to their school. So then by that time, you only have X amount of games to build some type of fandom for that person. Whereas at least we had Zion for 3 years, in our opinion, plus college. So we knew what we had an attachment to a guy like a Zion, but there's no attachment to these players in college basketball, which is, I think, at the end of the day, it's hurting college basketball. But to go back to the tweet, once again, to repeat it, March Madness shows how overrated these big-time recruits are. Go to school that values you. It's not to show that they're overvalued or overrated. No, they're still getting to the National Basketball Association. The issue is if you want to win a college championship, you need some type of, unless you're just going off of straight talent, which is hard to do, you need some sort of chemistry, some sort of camaraderie. Like you said, think about it. The most talented program in the last 15 years, I think we can all agree, is Kentucky, followed by maybe a Duke.
Yep.
Kentucky has one championship in the last 15 years.
One. And it's because they don't have the players to build that chemistry.
They don't even have senior nights, bro.
Yeah, because they're gone.
You know, when you go to Kentucky, Calipari, if you stay at Kentucky more than 1 year, you can pretty much write yourself off that I won't be a pro, and I need to start focusing in on classes, right? Because when you go to Calipari, you're expecting a one and done. Look at Isaiah Briscoe, for example, right? Big name player while he was at Kentucky. He had to come back. Look at the Harrison twins. They had to come back. Where they at? Right? Yeah. The big name guys, they won and done it, and they in the league doing what they need to do. And that's not all of them, but the bulk of them are. When you look at, like I said, when you look at a Kentucky program, you gotta capitalize in that 1 year. If not, generally the scouts are gonna write you off. That has nothing to do with them being overrated. It just means that
the program you're in,
your program is just different than the program of a Villanova or one of those programs that really UConn that really builds. You know what I mean?
And that's what's tough about.
Before you turn me in, huh?
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say, but before Huncho chimed in, go to a school that values you. I don't really feel like also that any of the schools really value them like as students, just assets, because they don't get paid as well. Which I'm pretty sure we'll have another conversation about that. But paying that shows value. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Paying.
But
I mean, I know you're paying for education, but like Melo said, if you're one and done, you can get your education when you get your millions.
Before you go, Van, let me real quick rebut that comment. For the average high school going to a college player, you do want to listen to that, right? Go to a school that values you, because you know you're like generally you're a long shot to get to the league. Not saying that you can't, but you need to go to a team that values you as a player. But in this situation, we're talking about elite talent players. You need to go wherever you can go to get to the next level. Whereas some of these guys, they're long shots as it is. You're not on a Kentucky's market. So if you're not on a Kentucky, Duke, or North Carolina, you're not on their radar anyway. You need to go to a school that values you, right? Because in order for you to get an opportunity, look at a guy like Fred VanVleet, right? He's made a career, but it took him going to a school that valued him, showed him off, gave him the opportunity to show that he's a talented player. Now he bet on himself and was able to get a decent contract from Toronto. So
exactly,
you do to an extent, Jay, gotta go to it for the normal person, right? Gotta go to a school that values you. But for these big, like you said in the tweet, these big time recruits, I don't think that's the case. If you're a big time recruit and you're trying to get to the NBA, you can care less about college.
So look, let me piggyback off that.
What about
let me
piggyback off what he's saying. What he's saying is, if you're a big time recruit, you want to go to a place that's going to automatically get that next level. Those recruits at the NBA, you want to get their eyes from the jump. So like, say like a player like Dame Lillard, he ain't go to a big time school. But you go to a school that values you, going to play you minutes, going to get you those highlight tapes that you can send, or that a recruiter is going to see, and then a team is going to bet on you, because not all the teams have the first pick, second pick, or third pick. So you gotta bet on players that come from different teams. So you go to a team that values you, a program that's actually going to put you out there instead of just being one of those teams that already have prestige. If I go to Kentucky, I don't necessarily have to have a good season. If I'm coming out of high school, that player that's being talked about, and I go to Duke or Kentucky, I'm already getting looked at.
Devin Booker came off the bench for Kentucky.
Not necessarily. Wait.
I just said value for money. I understand.
No, I'm just talking as to everybody out there.
If you want to show value, Not
Not
everyone
actually.
goes to the NBA.
No, I'm just talking to people.
Oh no. I was just clarifying what I was
Okay,
saying.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
was just saying you
because
show
like,
value by paying.
yeah,
That's all
because
I'm
a
saying.
lot of people are going to look at value as like how you looked at it, but as a player, value is different. I need to look at the team that's going to value me, that's going to get me to that next level, and who's going to help me get to that next level. Especially if I'm not one of those players that's coming into college being like having the spotlight. Like I can have the spotlight and go to Kentucky and have an off year and still get recruited high, if you get what I'm saying. A player that has to work and has to build that.
Like Dame Lillard and Steph Curry didn't go to college as the greatest point guards of their generation.
You have to
Let's
work on
let
that.
Huncho chime in. Let's let
Oh yeah,
Huncho
go ahead,
chime in.
Huncho. Go ahead.
I'm listening to y'all. Shoot. Okay, so just kind of piggybacking off of what Melo and D-Lamp are saying. What people forget is, and that's one thing that I always tell the younger generation, the younger athletes, don't get so caught up. Because when I was in high school, when all of us were in high school, the main, and it's probably still the main thing right now, the main thing is to get these D1 offers and get these D1 looks. That stuff does not matter. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. That stuff does not matter. If you we're saying, if you go to a school that shows value in you as a player and allows you to get those minutes and allows you to get that playing time and allows you to get that experience and showcase yourself, the teams will find you. They'll find you. They'll go out their way. They'll look for you. They got recruits all over the world. They will find you. My thing is, I feel like they need to do a better job of letting these kids know that, for one. And gosh, I forgot where I was gonna go with this. It's like y'all hit every point pretty much, but man, yeah, y'all hit every point. I don't even know where else to
No,
take
for
this.
sure.
All I'm saying is, if you show value, my thing is, I get what y'all saying, but that don't happen for every college player. So if you pay them, so they can, like I said, college athletes struggle. Y'all college athletes, y'all struggle through college paying bills and stuff too. So if you give them a means to live their life, live their college life while also obtaining their education, because my thing is, education don't even really matter at that point too, because if you are one and done, you gonna get millions anyway. But for the people who do stay there for a long time, you show them value, like, okay, not only am I investing in your game and everything, but here is this stipend for playing for this program. NCAA making all this money. Here is this stipend so you can pay your bills, or hey, here is this stipend so moms can. A lot of these kids come out of poverty and stuff too. So that's all I'm saying.
No, I
You can
definitely
show value to all of your
Yeah.
student athletes. You just throw them a
And
little
I
bit.
wish-
That's
And
it.
Remy just posed the. Oh, go ahead, Melo.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I was a D1 athlete. I was a high jumper at CMU. I know Van was a collegiate football player. I think we both agree. I'm sure we both agree. The amount of time that we put into our prospective sports, right? Like it takes away from the extra that you can do to be able for some, right, to be able to actually make ends meet on a collegiate level. I do believe that there should be some form of stipending for the collegiate athletes. But Van, I do want a quick touch base on what Remy says. So go ahead, knock that out, Remy, Van.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Remy posed pretty much a question where, what about these HBCU, these kids picking the HBCU over a D1 school, or those popular schools, in which, from my personal standpoint, what I was gonna say was that people forget that when you go to college, you're with a whole group of athletes no matter what sport you're playing. You're with a whole group of athletes that were in the same situation that you were in high school. You get a whole bunch of athletes on the team that were that star player at their school. They were that top-notch player at their school in most cases. They had the accolades, they had the awards, all that. They had all of that at their school in high school, and you're bringing them to a collegiate institution where now they're all on the same team. So now y'all all got to figure it out. In basketball's case, I feel like it's that much harder simply because the roster size is so much smaller. and it's you only get to play 5 players at a time, so you got to be the best out of them 5 players to see the floor.
You gotta be
As far as
you.
the AC facts, as far as the HBCU schools go, I completely agree with that. I really push for that. I wish I went to HBCU myself. I still regret it to this day, but it is what it is. But I feel like that's not only good for these players to allow them to showcase themselves. If it's a player that doesn't feel like they're gonna get that same look that they're gonna get, let's say they have that D1 offer from Florida State, but obviously there's some other players that are there that are at the same caliber, if not better than them when they get there. So let's say they want to just make sure they get that the chance to showcase their talent. I fully support them going to an HBCU. A lot of people forget that HBCU athletics is D1 AA, I believe. So it's still D1. It don't, and that really doesn't even matter to me. But it's still, you're still getting. The point is to get collegiate experience so you can get to that next level. If that's what you're trying to do, that's the main purpose.
Look, the follow-up question that Remy posed though, is it a safe move, or are there any risk? And immediately, right, I think about, remember when Ben Simmons went to LSU and dominated, and then just kind of sat it down, right? When we talking about elite, especially the elite athletes on any level, more so basketball than football, because football is different, man. You there for 3 years.
Yeah, facts.
Like, football is just different, man. But when we're talking about basketball is a safer move. Like I said, a guy like Ben Simmons, who didn't even lead his team to the sweet, or to the tournament, right? So I don't think there's necessarily a risk. I think the big thing is a lot of these guys grow up, loving these big name, these blue collar programs. Like, even myself, I fall victim to that. I'm a guy that roots for Duke, right? And that's no other reason than because the Duke program has been winning and been on TV, and you want to root for a winner. So I don't see that it's a risk if you have legitimate Division I talent, if you have a legitimate pro talent. Like I said before, Damian Lillard and Steph Curry are the two best point guards in the NBA today, and neither one of them went to a major Division I institution. Kyrie obviously went to Duke, but then when you look at these two one went to Davidson and one, you know what I mean, like. So it's not. I think if you're a Division I talent, if you're a pro talent, you're always going to be found. But a lot of these big name guys, I don't think it hurts them going to a HBCU, especially in the current climate we're in.
Yeah, because it's different now. It's definitely different nowadays, because you can, like, with social media, you can be found anywhere. You can definitely be found anywhere. But I kind of want to move on to the next tweet. We've been on this for a while.
That was a good tweet, though. That was a really...
that was an excellent tweet. And my thing is, I think, it's just something that we just might need to dive in a little deeper on,
That's a whole episode's worth. That's a whole episode's
But what I was
worth.
going to say is, as Remy cues the next tweet is, let's just see how March Madness turns out at the end of this at the end of this tournament, and let's see, how it turns out for the athletes at hand. Let's see if it matters in the drafting and the scouting, and then, as we progress, let's check it out through college football as we approach another.
That'll always be a topic for conversation, right? When you're talking about paying athletes and everything else, like, that's always going to be a topic for conversation. But anyway, so going into the next tweet, this is my tweet. So one of the pages that I follow on Twitter, one is called Hoop Central. They updated their MVP tracker right now. Currently, as we speak, they have at least Jokic at 1, Embiid at 2, Harden at 3, Giannis at 4, and LeBron at 5, and Damian Lillard at 6 as far as our MVP current standings. I was curious. I know we talked about it briefly before, but I definitely want to get into it. Where are we as a group when we start looking at MVP for this current season? We're about halfway through, a little over halfway through, but this is a perfect mark to start trying to discuss that MVP battle.
I like it. Can I start?
Go ahead, please.
All right, so look.
Yeah, I want you to start because I already know I'm gonna disagree with you. I already know I'm gonna disagree
So
with you.
look. Embiid, we can take out a second place. He's going to miss too many games. And that's coming from at least the voters, the people who vote for this.
Right.
Embiid's
It's gonna be
definitely
too crucial.
definitely
It's
going to
too
miss
crucial
some.
over two of an injury, Mark. He's missing 2 weeks during. This is like the time where
Yeah,
you
this
start
is that
missing.
stretch where you can prove
Yeah.
your case. So
And they play Milwaukee 3 more times too.
so I
Yikes.
feel like he's out of the second position. Jokic, I would not have at the first position just because his team is not winning right now.
Who's first?
First, and y'all probably gonna be like, man, whatever. But first is James Harden right now, and that's because they're missing KD. And didn't he just play without KD and Kyrie and still get a dub? He's done that twice. So, I feel like James Harden is the front runner right now, especially, and for all those people that be like, well, he left Houston, and the last 10 Nets are 9-1. So yeah, they're on a winning streak right now. For those of the people, they're tied with Philly for first, and for those people who say like you got to look what he did in Houston and look at that stuff. To me, I feel like look where Houston is right now. They're scraping for wins. So you take him off of that team.
They lost 17 straight, I believe. I think it's 17 straight.
Exactly. So you take him off
They
of that
lost.
team, you see how they're going, and you put him on Brooklyn to where both of their star players before James Harden got on that squad.
Houston has lost 18 straight games.
18. Okay. 18.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
In their defense, Christian Wood has been out the lineup.
Christian Wood has been out of the lineup. But how many games did Christian Wood get you?
I don't know how many he gets you, but he's been out all 18.
I'm just saying he's not.
Actually, I take that back because he played last night against the Warriors.
Oh, okay. So 18 straight. Look, James Harden left that team. They lose 18 straight. He goes to the Nets squad, which both of their star players before he got there are in and out of the lineup, and he's leading them to wins. So I put him in first. LeBron James is second. Their team has been on a win streak, but now since AD has been out, they've been back and forth. They're almost 500. They are 500 over their last 10. They basically are 500. So the reason I don't have LeBron James first is because without AD, they're losing. So after LeBron James, Giannis, I have Giannis as the third. And I feel like Giannis has really been doing his thing, especially over these last couple games. He has been going crazy. And the Bucks have won they won 9 out of their last 10 too. So not too much you can say about that. And at 4, that's when I would have Jokic, because Jokic has also been balling. Just the Nuggets have not been what they were last year. Even though they're on a come up right now. They're 8-2 in the last 10, but they have been on a losing streak before that. And then yeah, other than that, I feel like everything is right on that list. Which would mean Damian Lillard is right after Kawhi, Kyrie, Rudy, and then Luka. So not too much I would change besides the last 4 places.
So who's number 1?
Number 1 is James Harden.
All right. Van, go ahead, bro.
What you got, Huncho?
I'm actually gonna be in agreement with Lamp with this one.
What?
I'm gonna be in agreement with Lamp. I don't too much. I'll say for my top, I'll go top 4. I'm gonna go James Harden at 1. I'm gonna go Bron moving up to 2. I'm gonna go Giannis at 3. and I'm gonna go Jokic at 4. So pretty much that same setup. Lampard. I see James Harden winning it. Honestly, he's been balling. His team has been balling, and like Lamb said, Houston is doing terrible. So it just shows you how much of an impact he was over in Houston, and how much they're losing, and what they lost without him. And then he comes over here, and now he's balling. Now he got them doing their thing now. So I'm gonna have to give it to him, man. Who won the next, man? Who Jay? I mean, yeah, Jay. You look like you got something to say, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got
You look like you got something to say.
Melo.
Melo look like he itching too.
They're both wrong because Giannis is actually the MVP right now.
Oh,
Melo
And
itching.
here's how we gonna break this down. First of all, I do think Harden deserves some credit, but how you gonna get the MVP nod and your teammate up there as well? You know what I'm saying? So if the voters have to decide James Harden or Kyrie both in the top 10, it really makes you think, well, who's the MVP? So I'm going with Giannis first and foremost because the man didn't have 3 straight triple doubles.
Can I interject real
Let's talk
quick because
about
I
it.
want to hear your take.
Now, let me get my turn. I'm gonna let
wait.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
I just want to get your
I'm gonna
answer.
let you
Oh, I just want to get your answer.
Go ahead.
So you say
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you say this about James Harden, but at the beginning of the year, LeBron James was up for MVP and AD was too. So what are we talking about?
I didn't say LeBron.
No, I'm just saying.
LeBron
You gave that reason as to why James Harden is not an MVP, but LeBron and AD were both in the MVP race as well before. So what's the
I can
difference?
understand that if I said James Harden or if I said LeBron was number 1 or number 2. I'm not saying I ain't even got LeBron in my top 4.
Jay got a
Okay,
point.
I ain't got LeBron in my top 4.
I get you.
I got
I
Giannis.
get you. Okay.
You don't have
I got
Harden in
Giannis
your
first.
top 4?
Valid. Go ahead.
Not right now. Listen
Finish.
to me. Listen
My bad.
to
My
me.
bad.
Listen to me. Giannis is number 1. Giannis is number 1. Look, y'all can call it what you want. Brooklyn is 28-13. The Bucks are 26-14. So they're not that far off in record-wise. So y'all want to talk about winning? They're tied with Philly. Milwaukee ain't that far off. And they have had the number 1 seed a couple of times. So let's see how this plays out. Hopefully KD gets healthy. Damian Lillard is number 2. Dame's number 2 right now. Now y'all can say what y'all want to say. Russell won an MVP as the 6th seed, but Dame has time to elevate his game, and he hasn't been playing with anybody. So I got Dame in number 2. Then I got James Harden. James Harden is good in number 3. He's good right where he is. And y'all can count out Embiid because he's injured. But until somebody plays better through his injury, Embiid's number 4. And I think we have to respect what Embiid has done for his team. Now, granted, we're going to see if they can continue winning. If they can continue winning, then I feel that knocks them out. But Giannis is the MVP right now. And if y'all have been watching him play, ever since the All-Star break, we talked about it. That All-Star break just helped him alleviate all that pressure and stuff. He's just playing more fluid basketball. He passing off the dribbling. I'm like, Giannis elevating this game for real. Like, I'm really watching this for my eyes. So I'm going to give Giannis a nod. I'm going to give Dame the number 2 because Dame and them still have time to get that 1, 2, 3, 4 seed. They have a little time. I'm going to go, I said James Harden 3. I'm going to go James Harden 3. And then I'm going to go Joel. And then I got Bron at 5.
Does no one see the obvious flaw in this list?
Bro, Wardell, bro, but he's not.
Golly, Rudy Gobert is more of an MVP than Wardell is?
Look, so Rudy.
Golly, that's what we're doing? No,
it don't matter.
Listen, Wardell, Stephen Curry, I got you, sir. I'm not going to make an MVP case. But golly, we can't put him on the list.
Yeah, he on the list. He's definitely on the list. I'm sorry for
Y'all
not putting
so
him on the list.
disrespectful, bro.
I'm sorry for not putting him on the list.
Yeah, my top 10. I only did 5. Because only 5.
I didn't even look. I was just reading through the list and I seen Rudy Gobert. I skimmed over his name. Steph should definitely be on the list before Rudy. Y'all already know how I feel about Rudy. But go ahead.
All right, so first of all, we're gonna appreciate Wardell, Stephen Curry. That's what we're gonna do. You ain't gotta be MVP, but
What number you got him at, Melo?
you ain't gotta be MVP,
Dude.
but you on the list. That's all. You can get into the club. He can get into the club. He on the list. All right. Now, Jokic, you not number one, right? I'm with you, Jay. Like I'm with y'all. He's not number one. As hard, like to me, this is gonna be one of the hardest MVP wins in the last 10, 15 years, right? Because what Harden is actually doing with Brooklyn is impressive. But similarly, when he lost to Russell Westbrook, what was the issue? We was like, we can't forget about the first couple games, like the first 10 to 15 games he had of that season. Whereas Russell played hard and Russell averaged a triple-dub all through the season. I think it's gonna come back to hurt Harden again.
It was 9 games.
I'm not denying that. But Damian Lillard didn't have 9 games to take off. Giannis don't have 9 games to take off. LeBron without AD right now don't have 9 games to take off.
But I want to say 2 or 3 of those games he didn't take off.
Right, the first game he went for 40. And then every game after that, the teammates went to talking to the media like, man, get this fat bum up out of here. So I will put Harden at 2, right? Because I can't negate what he's done.
All I'm saying is look at where the Rockets are at right now.
Right, but that's also because we got Victor. First of all, I won't even go into what they got back. You'll never get equal value for James Harden.
True.
Right? I could just leave it at that. So no matter what, Houston was never gonna win. Right? Like if there's no debate that when soon as Harden left that team, it's gonna take a couple years before they become a contender type of team again. So,
but the last 18.
But once
Victor
again,
and John Wall.
But once again, John Wall is in and out the lineup. Victor has been a shell of himself, and Christian Wood, really their best player, hasn't played. So, yeah, it sounds a lot worse than what it is. But you expect if I'm Houston, I expect to be losing right now. It doesn't matter if we're losing 10 games or 18 games. We're still losing, right? So, I expected that to happen. Right now, and it sucks that Joel got hurt because Joel was getting ready to run away with this.
He was.
Yeah.
And LeBron had a chance once Anthony Davis went down to get this MVP. But I'm sorry. But Daryl needs to apologize for me for saying that Pascal Siakam was more skilled than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Chill, bro.
Because I still have yet to see how that's equated. But right now, Giannis.
As far as overall skill, I'm not talking about he's a better. I didn't say he was a better player.
I ain't talking about better player. I said skill too. Giannis is number 1. Harden's number 2. Joel Embiid will finish 3rd because he should be back in enough time where he'll continue to make a case. And honestly, I got Damian 4 and LeBron 5. What Damian Lillard is doing without CJ McCollum,
man,
really.
Yeah,
it's a bad.
Y'all know what's
right. It's a terrible year for Dame because of the greatness of which everyone else is putting forth. I could see Dame, and some of it is the Trailblazers, right? You're playing in Portland, you're in the middle, you're out west. No one really watches, but Dame, so we respect Dame.
But the thing is, the Trailblazers have been hurt dang near every year.
Yeah, they got Cantor as the starting center right now.
They have been hurt dang near every year for the last 4 years.
And that's my point. Damian got them the number 6 seed. How? I don't know. And so seriously, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
Who's their second scorer right now? Melo? And I'm a Carmelo fan.
Shout out to Melo.
I'm a Carmelo fan, but Melo? Gary Trent Jr.? What are we talking about? So it's a terrible year for Dame as far as the MVP because everyone's going through it of some sort in some capacity. But right now, for me, I go Giannis. I definitely, I think Giannis is up there. I think Harden, what Harden is doing, I can't deny. Harden's number 2. I still think Embiid, even after his 2-week stint, should be able to come back and at least fight for third. They're gonna find a way to get LeBron fourth, even though he's 500 without AD, and Dame is gonna continuously be, underrated. Steph should be somewhere at least on the list. I once again, I said the statistic earlier. They're the worst offense in the league without Steph Curry on the court. With Steph Curry on the court alone, so one player being subbed in, they're a top 10 offense, and he's only a point guard.
Okay, so let me ask this.
Yeah, it is.
Let me ask this to all my Giannis people who are putting Giannis at first. Do you really think that the voters believe he deserves a third MVP in a row? Only people who've had 3 MVPs are Larry and Magic, if I'm not mistaken. Fact check that.
So the issue would be this: if Giannis is able to run off and somehow get that number 1 seed,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
right now, because remember the Bucks started off terrible. The Bucks didn't start off they didn't even finish.
Yeah,
They didn't even finish they didn't finish in the bubble like the Bucks. So really, they haven't been playing good basketball for a long time. If they can find a way, the Bucks did through the first half of the season. The Bucks didn't play good basketball, and they're at number 3 in the West, or in the East rather, and has won 9 of the last 10 on a 5-game win streak right now. And like you said, Jay, since the All-Star break, Giannis is averaging a triple-double. So, and if you watched the game, granted it was against an Embiid-less Philly. Giannis took over that game and looked like the MVP again. He looked like, he hit step backs, he's hitting threes, he's coming through the lane, and he had an all NBA defensive player on him in Ben Simmons. He looked like the MVP last night, and playing them boys. But the big thing is this, and I think me and Jay are similar in our thought process. If Bucks can somehow find a way to get to that number 1 seed again, I think it's hard to not give it to Giannis, seeing as his supporting cast is not Kyrie Irving.
Before you retort that, let me just add this back in too. The good thing about Giannis, making the case for Giannis as well, he still has to play Philly multiple times. He still has to play Miami multiple times. He still has to play Boston multiple times. So their schedule is going to get a lot harder as well. So if he beating out his counterparts for the most part, like I said, that was their first time playing Philly this week. So they still got to play them 3 more times. So the level of competition is going to be a lot harder for Giannis. So I feel like he can streak a little bit.
But look, the thing is,
let's talk. Go ahead.
My thing is, with Giannis, y'all are right. If they can somehow get the first seed, you can't argue that. But my thing is, Nets already played those teams you're talking about. They have the highest record against the teams that are 500 and above. So, the first time that Giannis played Philly, they didn't have Embiid. And Embiid is one of those people who really, gives Giannis a hard time. Because he's down there and he's waiting for you.
We can't fault Giannis for injury.
No, I'm not faulting him. I'm not faulting him. I'm just saying, Embiid, it's a different game when Embiid's in because Embiid gives Giannis a hard time. Now, if Giannis is stepping back and he's shooting threes and he's shooting the mid range, you can't stop him.
Real quick. Milwaukee has the 13th toughest schedule remaining, with at least 2 more Brooklyn games on the schedule. The Nets have the 22nd, so they have a pretty easy schedule remaining.
And that goes to my point. They already did that without KD.
But the issue is this: when we both know, and we all know rather, an MVP, it's about what you've done for me lately. So with Giannis, if he's able to make a late push, they'll forget about early season. I don't want to even say forget, but it's because like the reason we're all taking Embiid out of our spot is because he's going to be out of sight, out of mind.
He's hurt.
But with Giannis, if he's able to lead this team to the number 1 seed, especially with a more difficult schedule and having to beat Brooklyn twice, I think the voters, because it'd be one of those things where what have you done for me lately?
No, I get that, and I'm saying I can't disagree with y'all if they take the number 1 seed, but I don't see them taking the number 1 seed,
Right?
Especially with the Nets having an easier schedule and then KD coming back.
But that could also
and
work.
that's my dilemma as well. That's what I want to see. And like I said, I don't think Harden's not going to do it, but I want to see him do it with KD's there.
I struggle to see that Harden will win it when KD gets back on the court. Because no matter what, if we take top threes, Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton will never outweigh Harden, KD, and Kyrie.
True.
And for that, voters, if Giannis is able to get them usurp Brooklyn and Philly as the number 1 seed,
No,
they will. I feel that they will side with what Giannis was able to do, especially because they started off so rocky.
and I'm generally with you. But my thing is, even if KD comes back, if Harden continues to average a triple-double and becomes and stays the glue of that team, I don't see him not being the MVP, even if KD comes back. If you get what I'm saying.
Dude, I think they'll use that against Harden, and even though it's a positive for like as a team, they'll take that away. Like they'll think about it when Steph and KD were together.
Yeah,
They were the greatest team ever, but neither one of those was even top 5 in MVP because they had each other. I think the big thing is, even though Harden's carrying them now, it'll get to the point where when it's time to have MVP votes in, they'll be like, well, damn, Harden had KD and Kyrie the whole way, or at least Kyrie the whole way, and KD was a part of it, whereas Giannis had, Drew and I guess Middleton. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that is why Giannis has even gotten the last 2, because I think we all can agree once again, Middleton on a championship team is not a second option. Middleton really is a third option on a championship team. So if, and mind you, it's a regular season award, if he's able to come from how the depths of the East, because once again, the Bucks did not start off this year well. If they're able to somehow finish out and finish 2-3 games ahead of the second seed, I can see the voters, especially because Giannis's numbers back it up, going Giannis again over Harden with Kyrie and KD. Do I think Harden has had so far in carrying the Brooklyn Nets to a competitive team had a more... I think Harden could have really had an argument, right? If we were just to take from Harden getting traded on, I'm with you. I'm taking Harden. But I don't think the voters can take out that first half of the season, whereas for Giannis, even though he was down, he was carrying these boys and trying to get them there, whereas Harden essentially quit and then played like Harden can play in the back half of this, not even the back half of the season, the majority of the season at this point.
The only thing I'm going to say, before we move on, the only thing I'm going to say before we move on is that I understand where you're coming from, and the only thing I am putting against Giannis is that the voters are not going to
go 3 straight.
3 straight.
Gotcha.
They're not going to go 3 straight, but I'll come from.
Huncho, any last words, bro, before we wrap this up?
I'm good. Let's get on to the next one.
All right, y'all. So that is what the tweet. As you can see, we can go all day on these Twitter things, but just so you get a feel of it, that's just what the tweet. So make sure that you guys are, DMing us, tagging us, and everything that you're seeing on social media. So, you can be on what the tweet.
Yes, sir. Let them know we like I said, we got different special segments coming all the time. So just stay tuned. I mess with the tweet because like he said,
it's raw emotion.
We can get to going and we can go all day.
It's raw emotion. Y'all seeing it for the first time like we are. That's raw emotion coming out. So like you said, shout out with the tweet. Shout out Jay for the topic.
Mm-hmm. So our next topic is the importance of the women athlete. and why we need them in sports. Because like they said, is Women's Month, and we definitely want to stay on this topic and keep it going throughout this episode. So with this, I just want to start with, it's not even why we need women in sports. It's just the fact that to have them have the equal opportunities to play sports. If you want to play golf, if you want to play tennis, if you want to play basketball, hell, if you want to play football, you should have the opportunity to play that, no matter if you're a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. So just to have that equal opportunity, to let them have the same opportunities to go to college to play sports, to go to the league, wherever that league may be, but just to have them have that same opportunity and equal rights, I feel like is more important than why we actually need them in sports. But like, if any of y'all want to take that and go from there, go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback exactly what you said. I think it's important for, like Lamp said, just to have women in all aspects of life, but more importantly in sport is because the really beautiful thing about sports is the different adversity that, you know, our favorite athletes, our favorite teams go through. And I feel like a woman's story needs to be told that can't be told by LeBron James or a Michael Phelps or a Tiger Woods, you know, those big guys. So I definitely feel like it's super important to have those stories be told, so, you know, our future daughters and nieces and, you know, the women of the future, like Lev said, if they want to go down that path and they want to play a sport, they have these role models to look up to. They have these people and these other women that they've seen accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. So I think it's definitely important for representation, most importantly, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the world goes around by women. You know what I'm saying? So it's super important for those stories to be told, just for all athletes. You know what I'm saying? Get a different side, a different perspective. So, Lamp, you tied it in real well, and I just wanted to add that as well. So go ahead, Huncho.
Yeah, shoot. Well, I mean, basically what y'all said. I mean, from my perspective, for me, I'm somebody I've grown around women my whole life, pretty much. I got two older sisters. Been around my mom, my grandma, everybody. So I've been around women my whole life. So I'm well aware of how impactful women are. Now, when you put them on that platform and then put them in sport as well, they're even more impactful. Women in general are very strong individuals. You know, they can take on a lot and they can accomplish a lot. You know, they have powerful voices. You know, I feel like within sports, they have the ability to shed light on certain situations that certain men don't have the courage or the gumption to speak out upon. That's what all women are great at. You know, when they're uncomfortable or when something's going wrong within any given situation, they're going to let it be known. So, you know, I feel like they're often at the forefront of the voice for all sports, whether it is man or female or women's sports. And, you know, just within sports in general, I feel like they face a lot of scrutiny. I really look up to those women that, you know, in the 1940s and 50s, when the basic thing for a woman to do was to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom. You had those women that, you know, went out and actually took people saying that and said, okay, well, this is what you think of me. Well, I'm gonna show you I can do this. And they go out and they prove everybody wrong, and they, you know, go out and win those Olympic medals, and they go out and win those championships. And it just shows you that they're as equal as us and they're human just like us. So they shouldn't, you know, have to face all that scrutiny and those problems. So big shout out to women, man. Big shout out to them.
I think as young men, we got to continue to push that conversation to just the simple respect, right? I mean, I can't relate to what women go through, but the fact that we even have to have these type of conversations shows how far we still need to continue to get to, right?
Exactly.
I got two sisters, right? I'm the oldest of all my siblings, and shout out Mari and shout out Jacqueline. I don't know what I would do if someone hurt my sisters, right? So we need to continue as young men, as men who have a platform, especially as young black men, to continue to support and big up our queens, because without them, going back to what Van said, they're the ones that are really the courageous, figures when we start looking back, right? We got Harriet Tubman, we got the Rosa Parks, and we got on our end, we got Malcolm, and I'm saying, without every powerful black man, there's a very powerful, even if not even more powerful black woman, not only by their side but to their forefront, right? So I definitely think I appreciate you guys, because we're able to have these type of conversations and show the appreciation that we really need to have for the women in sports and women and even outside of sports, right? But just to continue to press this conversation forward, because without the women in our lives being taken to the severity that they need to be taken to me, we're still not holding up our end of the bargain. You know what I mean? So until we can eventually in our lifetime get the respect, you know what I mean, to where it needs to be, we got to continue to press this conversation and press forward.
That's what's up. Hey, well, I think this has been an excellent show.
Of course.
Happy International Women's Month. But before we go, fellas, y'all got any closing remarks? Y'all, want to leave the fans, leave our listeners?
Oh yeah, so great episode, fellas. Like my guy said, if you want to be a part of the podcast, make sure you DM us. Make sure you interact with us. We'll definitely get you a part of the podcast, shout you out, whatever we got to do. If you have a tweet that you want to put up, send a tweet, DM us. We'll get that up there. Just let us know. We definitely want to interact with all the people that are tuned in and are watching us. We want to share with y'all. We want to talk to y'all. We want to do all that stuff. So just make sure you keep interacting with us. DM us, like tweets, whatever, because
follow, subscribe.
We gonna make sure we get out to y'all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Real quick, you got something, Melo?
Nah, go ahead, man.
Oh, I thought you were about to say, my bad. Real quick, I got some quick shout outs I want to make. Shout out to, y'all see it on the hat, Dreams Take Work.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Duke, man. Duke Turley, he's doing some great things in the community of Grand Rapids, really making some things shake. So shout out to him. Also, I want to shout out my homeboy Mike Boyd with Train with Purpose. If you got any, basketball training that you want to get done, your kids or anything, make sure y'all hit him up. Man, contact him. I mean, it's great at what he does. So,
hey, I like that.
Hey, shout out.
I'm gonna let you go because y'all know I gotta.
Hey, shout out to Leah Cherry Photography. Shout out to Leah Cherry Photography. Shout out Remy. Y'all know what time it is.
Get them headshots. Aaliyah Cherry Photography.
Go get them.
Flyer Pop. You already know what's up. Like we said last episode.
Man, shout out Remy, man. Shout out Remy.
Like we said last episode, they have gaming. So if you interested in streaming, hit up Flyer Pop. They might put you on the team if you good enough. That's if you good enough.
We're gonna put that information in the comments, in the details and everything. But before we get out of here, fellas, I need to have a real conversation.
Here it goes.
I refrain, and next week we are definitely going to dig deeper in this. To the McCaskey family, Ted Phillips, Ryan Pace, Andy Dalton, to the city of Chicago, I am sorry. I am sorry that you have to deal with this organization. I have been a Chicago Bears fan all of my life, and I have never been more disappointed in this organization than I am this season. Shout out to Mr. Trubisky at the Bills. Hopefully my boy Kyle Fuller gets to go to someone because we just released him as well. Chicago Bears, excuse my French, but y'all need to get, I ain't even gonna curse. I'm not even gonna curse. As much as I want to curse right now, get your stuff together. I ain't want to put you all on blast every single party episode if you don't get your stuff together. I cannot deal with another 8-8 season. I cannot deal with another getting a playoff and getting kicked out. I can't deal with it anymore. And I'm going to lose my season. Do y'all want to see me go crazy on this podcast? Because I will go crazy on this podcast. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I can make you, I can have you go crazy real quick, Jay. Cody Parkey.
Look, man.
Andy Dalton.
Look, man.
Cut the
I
shot.
feel your pain. I definitely feel your pain because they are on some BS right now.
Andy Dalton.
But we
Question mark?
definitely gonna get into that on these future episodes. We definitely gonna get into that. But I definitely wanted to shout out frequent flyers. If y'all heard last episode, the beginning, the intro, and the ending, you know, flex, that's frequent flyers. Like I said, tune in.
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Go stream it. Listen to it.
Go download that, man. Go
Feel me?
download
We
that.
working on more. We coming out with more. So just go check it out. Just go check it out. Frequent flyers.
It's coming.
FREEQUENT.
If y'all need, oh, go ahead.
But go ahead.
Spell it again one time. Man.
Last
Spell
time.
it again.
FREEQUENT flyers. You know what it is.
Go check them out, man. If y'all need any logo work done, graphic design, whatever you need, man, come to me. I got you. You can get me at Huncho Norris on Instagram, HUNCHONORRIS. Or if you want the business page, go to VNOR Design, VNORR DSGN. That's VNORR DSGN. Get with me, hit me in the DM, contact me, email, whatever. We can get going. Let's get it.
You feel me?
And with that, y'all.
Hey, real quick.
Wait.
Remy Pop. Shout out Flyer Pop. You know we can't end the show. We gotta end the show with a big shout out to Remy. Hey, at Flyer Population, at Flyer Gaming. You know what I mean? Once again, every episode, I appreciate Remy for believing in the vision, believing in the boys, believing in what we got going.
Shout out Remy.
Shout out Flyer Pop. Shout out Remy.
With that, the party is out.